live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Mick Strawn.
We saw a movie where something happened to this guy.
Something happens to this guy?
And I don't know if it happened to him in California or Nevada, but it happened. It was
I have told you already that it happened to him in California and Nevada.
Well, I think Nevada would probably look the other way.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Kurt, you wouldn't happen to have a description of this film, would you?
Yes. 7 strangers, each with a secret to bury, meet at Lake Tahoe's El Royale, a rundown hotel with a dark past. Over the course of one fateful night, everyone will have a last shot at redemption.
Oh,
everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
Wow, you're loud.
Yeah,
that was,
I'm always kind of loud.
Sorry,
sorry
in the
about
red.
That. Yeah.
Anyway,
I burst a blood vessel.
That was interesting. It's a great cast, first of all.
It's a great cast. It's a great movie. It is a great look.
I was mad that I had to go pee.
I can imagine.
So there's a point.
I had to go pee so bad.
Well, there's a point where one of the characters was kind of almost reviewing everything that we just saw.
Right.
So that was when I ran out.
Is that when you ran out?
It's like, I gotta go.
I have to tell you something. The design and camera work. Now, here's the thing. There was a simplicity of frame to it that was amazing. I mean, the frames were all balanced, balanced but not symmetrical. In other words, you would have somebody's face way off center, but you would have enough totally empty space to the other side to balance it out. So often,
everybody's centered.
All the light was all very colorful, but at the same time it was almost like there would be a simple pattern going across the whole screen, and I gotta say,
well, that one room was amazing. The big round one,
right? Oh,
the fireplaces and everything. Yeah, that was an amazing room.
It was amazing. It was just amazing. I'm telling you, I was blown away, and I just kept looking at this room, going and. Let me tell you that a big room like that is a very difficult thing to design. It's a very difficult. I mean, not only do you have this problem commercially, but you have this problem even worse in a film, because think of it this way. Think of that. I've got like an enormous space, and I have to put interesting stuff that doesn't block the view of the space itself. In other words, if I have an enormous space, I should be presenting you many, many things to look at.
Yeah.
And especially if it's empty. Now think of this, is you don't have that many characters in this movie. Not, I think that in general, at the most they had was 7 people at any given time. And here's the thing, is with that, in this huge lobby, you had multiple levels going on. You had a lot of planters and fireplaces, and
the strings that held the fireplaces.
And the strings that held the fireplaces. And the thing that was great is the seating. Even the seating by itself had this sinuously turns, and it's difficult design wise. Very, very difficult to do an interesting space that you didn't break up into rooms, but you had all these,
and you can still separate characters. So there's one scene where there's one character in California,
right,
and the rest of them are in Nevada.
Oh, exactly.
And she's standing behind the fireplace.
And you had people walking in front of, walking behind things, and they have multiple things that are in the air, like room dividers that you look through, and the beads and the devices that were and the chandeliers were hanging constantly all the way down, but so that you could see through them, and this gives
you. And they interacted with the scenery too.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And except for the line, did you notice that only one character really stepped on the line?
Yeah.
They all stepped over except for one.
Well, the other thing that is in terms of the lighting is you had so many different pools of light, and it was so interesting, but yet I want to say interesting and yet simple. It was like everything was in large blocks. It wasn't like, oh, there was a bunch of tchotchke here or tchotchke there. It was like there was a full fireplace, there was a full table, or everything. Oh man, I was impressed with the look. Totally impressed with the look. And when we got back to
looked like it had been a nice hotel at some point. I mean, when it
right,
was,
and I'm curious,
which worked because it was like in its heyday, it was a beautiful place, and then
right, and I'm curious as to whether that's actually part of that hotel. I doubt it.
Right.
I mean, especially being as we never at any given point did a walk that went from the interior to the exterior. I mean, there wasn't a tracking shot at all that went straight out into it, and I think
Stopped to the door.
I think part of that was that was all on a stage.
Yeah,
I'm 100% sure it was on a stage because it was just too perfect. It was too perfect for filming, you know. Looking from the bar and across, and here I am. I'm going nuts over the stage itself, but even the rooms were just.
they're all a little different. I noticed.
They're all a little bit different. In
the dirty rooms
and interesting.
Hasn't cleaned them up yet.
I'm not even going to talk about the backspaces or any of the rest of that, or the mirror work. There was some amazing mirror work.
Well, I like how they did the shots where the mirror.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And using the mirrors and
with two characters.
I wanted
or more.
I wanted to talk about something here. On Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and I've used them in several cases, but on Nightmare on Elm Street 3, we used a 50-50 mirror. It was the shot of Freddy in the bathroom mirror. Mm-hmm. You know, when the claws grab her on Nightmare on Elm Street 3, the claws grab her,
right.
and she's struggling with it, and all of a sudden Freddy comes in the mirror. And the way that you do that is you
lighting, is it?
Well, what it is you have a mirror that's called half silver.
Okay.
In other words, they don't put a backing on it because the backing, all mirrors have a backing.
Reflects the light, yeah.
Well,
right?
No, all mirrors are silvered.
Okay, yeah.
You know, a process very much like plating chrome or something like that. That's basically kind of what it is. And if it's half silver, they'll leave it half silvered, and then they won't put the back on, like, you know, that kind of rust red looking stuff that's on the back of a mirror. That's just paint that is hardens really hard and stops you from scraping the silver off. Okay, so you take a half silvered mirror, and then you sit and you balance your light. Okay, and then once you balance what the light is going to be at that point, then you can use that as a baseline, and you go a little higher on one side, a little higher on this side, a little higher on that side. And I think it's the one that has the higher light is going to be the one that's going to go through.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you can switch back and forth, which is the whole thing about, you know, it's a two-way mirror and all that. And a two-way mirror is kind of like, more than anything, it's based on how much light you have on one side or the other. It's funny is because usually it is played correctly that you see the bright light on the side with the lineup when you're talking about the lineup, we're looking through, and then it's dark, you know,
side,
and that's the way that it has to be. That's if it were lighter on their side than on the other side, then you would have a problem.
Well, that's why I'm always confused on movies with interrogations, and the guy goes up to the mirror and holds his head and the hand up. You'd think he'd be able to see something.
Yeah,
he's blocking the light out.
It actually doesn't work that way. You
Really?
would be surprised. I mean, it's very, very.
Next time I'm being interrogated, I'm going to find out for sure.
Yeah, well, there you go. You know, it's very expensive to get a mirror half silvered because the process is all set up, you know, for full silver and full backing on a mirror. You know, it's like, hey, you want a what? You know,
right.
So they're really, really expensive. Yeah, that's. In fact, SLR cameras used to. Some of them used to use that kind of a mirror without the camera flipping up.
Right.
Right. There were, I can't forget, there was one company in particular that specialized in not having their mirror flipping up and it jerking the camera. And that was a 50-50 mirror that they used in there, which it wasn't really very successful.
Right. Apparently not.
Yeah, but I was just, in general, I got to tell you, the production design on this thing, it just made me grab my heart. I loved it. And the wardrobe.
Yeah, the wardrobe. Yeah.
The wardrobe.
Oh, yeah.
Man. When Dakota Fanning walks in, she's got that frilly leather thing on, it's like, that was awesome. I mean, it just looked awesome. Everybody was just
Chris Hemsworth, interesting wardrobe going on there.
Yeah, that was but you know what? The thing is you knew that he was Manson.
Yeah.
I mean, totally instantly, because I remember seeing photographs of Manson, like exactly making that motion. And I was like,
and the way he walked.
Yeah, and the way that he walked. Is like, so,
I thought everybody in this was awesome, actually.
Everybody was awesome. Absolutely everybody, yeah.
And there's one character that was more, I think, stronger than others, just because she was kind of in between everybody, the Darlene Sweet character.
Oh, yeah, that she was playing. Yeah, she was playing it so.
Cynthia Erivo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not.
Yeah. What has she done? Because I think I saw her on something here.
Not a lot.
No, she really hasn't.
It's done mostly TV.
She's going to be in Widows, huh? Okay. But her character being, I want to say subdued, but that wasn't it. Her character was more.
I think she was cautious. Is a good word for it, maybe, or.
Well, you see, she was one of the ones that was just there for a normal purpose in a way.
She was also one of the smarter characters.
Yeah, and she was. Yeah, she definitely. Yeah.
Even though I don't know. I mean, when something happened, she was kind of looking at something, and I was like, "Why would you even go look at something after something happened like that?"
Yeah. Well, that's true.
It's really hard to be.
No, it's really true. Yeah. There were a couple of like glaring things of. And of course, I can't. Everybody was so tight on the script. I mean, and talk about being written well.
And they managed to put backstories for every single character, but make it so it wasn't like totally like taking away from everything.
Right. Well, the exposition was.
It was very
perfect.
short too, because here's a quick backstory, and then we're gonna go back to what's happening right now.
Yeah, the camera work was done in these long shots. Did you notice that? That it was long shot. They weren't cut up, and there was very little of the standard two shot. Cutting back and forth. It wasn't that. It was everything was laid out on a long shot, and the long shot would move around to serve as the two shot and the first of the one shots every time.
It reminded me a lot of Age of Innocence. It's weird to bring that one up. But,
yeah.
But there were a lot of shots where they were like on a ballroom dance floor, for example, and they were like, the camera was moving around them, and like it would zoom in. It would kind of get close up, but it was like long shots. It wasn't like a bunch of different. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the reason why I remember that is because I was in a film class, and I had I had to go to watch that movie and basically focus on the camera work. That was what the focus was. And it was because it was such a unique movie.
Well, it kind of reminded me. I think I've talked before about Larry Elkin and how he would do his.
Yeah, you told me about him.
You did that long.
Which I want to look into some of his stuff now. After you talked about it.
The long worked out shots and
or like Boogie Nights.
But that's a
big long shot in that one.
But that's a huge expansion of it. I'm talking about every shot in this was just was long.
I think it makes it feel more natural because
it had a very natural feel.
Yeah.
And the thing that's great about it is that the lighting was so cool and the set was so cool that you wanted to see all this stuff, And the actors.
Some of my favorite shots were when the girl was standing behind the fireplace,
right,
and she was watching what was happening,
right, and
just because of the lighting,
the
lighting was amazing,
and I hate to bring this up, because it's just a little tiny beef, but there was a war sequence in it.
Yeah.
That was
I had some issues with that one too.
Well, I have to say one thing about when you're doing that kind of design work, like the hotel itself, which is amazing, right? And you want to continue that off into a real life situation, you have to be careful, because like there was a certain evenness and exaggeration to the look at that made it just seem...
And the lighting was too perfect too.
Yeah, it was all very staged. I mean very staged.
It was almost, actually, I had that thought when I was watching it, like when he stood up and was walking.
Right, yeah.
I was thinking, okay, I'm watching a play right now.
Right,
Basically.
it's exactly what it was like. I mean, it really was. It was very play-like. And it's funny because it wasn't his best acting part. I mean, it was almost like a cinematic part. But you know what? I'm not saying that it took away from the film at all. I'm just saying that because the rest of the film was so strong.
We should do that like at the end of the year. Like, let's do the top 10 cinematic
parts
of the movies we've done.
I would love that.
I don't think that's not going to be very high. I think
you know what? Hey, wait. It's our 1 year here.
Well, it's a little bit over a year, but yeah.
It's been a little bit over a year.
I think we started in September, yeah.
I think it's about time for us to do a recap of that sort.
Yes. The biggest fart, I think I already know what that is.
Yeah. Well.
But anyway.
Oh, mother.
Anyway.
Oh, mother, is there nothing you did right?
In fact, let's just take that out of it's not really a film. It's just kind of by itself.
It
somewhere.
isn't. You know, I really don't consider it a film.
Right.
Which,
by the way,
I don't know why I consider it.
I had a family member listen to that episode of us me reviewing Mother.
Yeah.
And you in the background,
right,
just groaning, like not really wanting to say anything.
Right.
And they thought we were making fart jokes. And I'm like, no, that's not what was happening. Because, well, I'm like, no, that's not really what was happening.
Our sound hadn't been worked out either at that
point. Yeah, it was just him groaning. Because
I think that we had a ways to go in general.
But yeah, so They didn't really get the joke. So there might be other people that didn't get it.
Hey, by the way, what kind of car was that? Was that a Hudson?
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
Oh, it's either a Hudson or a...
I don't know my cars that much. From that decade.
Either that or a Kaiser. Anyway.
This reminded me a little bit of that movie with the hotel, Jodie Foster. Kind of the look of it, but that one was darker.
Taxi? No.
It's one that we recently did. The hotel.
Hotel Artemis.
Yeah, Hotel Artemis.
Hotel Artemis.
Just kind of the feel of it, I guess. Not really the look, but the feel.
Yeah,
that makes any sense.
Well, and also at the same time, I have to tell you the budgetary difference between the two.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I do think that our Hotel Artemis, I loved it. And I loved the look of it, but it had a more downtrodden.
It was
look.
Definitely more depressing.
It was dirty. But
Darker.
At the same time, the cinematography difference between the two is astounding.
Right, but the production design.
But the production design of the two, yeah. And in fact, though, when I was talking about the clean, the incredibly clean and patterned look that you got, that the Hotel Artemis wasn't going for that. They were going for the layers of age that were on there.
Right.
And that there's two different looks, but
they're also
they have
showing
a great
sunny
film.
California.
Well, sunny. So, how's the weather there in Nevada? Anyway, what I want to
let's rate this real quick because I can see you're ramping up to tell an amazing story.
Am I ramping up to tell a story?
Maybe not. I guess I read your body language wrong.
I've gone
because you were like leaning in, like I'm going to tell this great story now.
Wow, that's no pressure. No pressure.
I give this actually. See, I feel bad now because I gave Venom a really high score. So I kind of feel like I have to give this one almost about the same spot.
I'm hitting 4. Sorry.
I'm still up. I'm at 3.8.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really have any reason.
I want to give it a 4. I mean, I've I've actually filmed up in the Tahoe area.
Yeah.
And that's supposedly kind of where this was.
Story time.
It's story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
Story time with Mick.
And I actually filmed in a casino, an actual casino up there. And I remember that I might have actually spent the night in a casino thinking that I had a gag that was coming up just like the next shot, right?
Yeah.
And it went all night long, way until a morning, and like 10 o'clock in the morning the next day, because we could only shoot in the hotel for one day, but their definition of the day was like 24 hours,
right? Because
their definition of everything is 24 hours, and so I'm just waiting, and I sat there and I spent $370, a nickel at a time, even with winning money back, and I was so bored. I just pull the arm down, and I just I spent all my petty cash and
wow.
And then I went out and collected receipts, because I'd be damned if I was going to pay for that.
Right. Well, that'd be fun.
Oh, yeah. No, it was not fun at all.
That'd be fun to not have to worry about paying for it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I have done some things with petty cash that needed to be done.
Right.
But maybe there would not have been a confluence of opinion.
Gotcha.
On
people might, yeah.
People might.
I know what you mean. Like some producers might have issues, maybe.
Well, I remember that we lost on the hidden. We lost $900 and something dollars.
Was it hidden?
No, I mean anyway. we literally just lost the whole envelope. Oh, and I remember it was like my his assistant at the time, just like literally it flew out of the window or something like that in her car and just and so we actually had one of those days where you go out on a weekend and try and get every possible Home Depot receipt you possibly could, and everybody on the crew had to like dig in and see if they could make up the difference.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, what I remember was trying to distract the accountants. I started a story on the back of the receipts, and I actually did this whole, and it was just a meandering, just off the top of my head, it just kept going and going and going and going and going and going, and I turned in the last envelope, with and literally all I was trying to do was distract them, right? And then the last petty cash envelope came back through. And then they gave me $200 and said, listen, go out and spend this on whatever you want and turn it in and then finish the story.
Oh, wow.
Because I hadn't finished the story. So
must have been a good story.
You know what? I don't remember it at all. I just have no idea what it was about, but it was just... They wanted it in. I mean, I was like, just that's done, and they wanted to end it. So I did it for the accountants.
Well, it can't be hard to entertain accountants, probably. Right?
Yeah, you know what? The funny thing about it is I hit on a kind of a magical little expression there. Because otherwise, you're an accountant. And the thing is you're an accountant on something that should be relatively exciting.
Right.
The film shoot, but yeah,
that'd be the worst, to be on a film crew and just look at numbers and like.
Well, here's the thing I have noticed over years, though, that people like the assistant accountant or the accountants or the PAs that absolutely have no talent whatsoever keep getting pushed towards production. right? And the thing is there's to a certain extent, you're pushed up depending on your experience on how many of those jobs you've had, right? You know, and I often told people this is that, you know, I'm a production designer, which I was on Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and I, you know, way late in my career, like 94 or something like that, I went to New Zealand, and the producer in New Zealand was the assistant accountant on Nightmare on Elm Street 3. So just goes to show you that, you know, and here was the problem. I was good at something.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think they're probably pushed up there because they can watch the money better, right?
Well, yeah, you know, it's
it's all about money, isn't it?
They're in the offices all the time. You know?
Right.
That's the difference. I mean, being in the offices and ugh, you know, but I often notice that is that if you were good at art department, you would end up being in, you know, the highest thing is you'd be production designer. Mm-hmm. If you were good at camera, anything in camera, you'd work in camera. Or, you know, if you were good at slobbering, then you'd be a grip. But, you know, or heaven, you know, forbid, an actor. But, you know, if you weren't good at anything at all, you wind up in production.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, that's the way it goes. So so I have a question for you. Are you in Nevada?
35.
Or California?
Oh, I am insane.
California.
I think if I had a choice, I'd probably be in California.
Yeah, you think? Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Nevada. Yeah. Nevada's the pits.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can always go to Nevada.
So you know what? We're not balanced out like the hotel is. But I have to say, totally enjoyed it. I am telling you to go see this film.
Yes, I agree.
It is beautiful. It's exciting as hell. A lot of people get killed. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
At least one.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on the Dream Warrior Review podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about us, follow us, and, of course, like us. We can be found on Podbean, which is an amazing app, YouTube, Stitcher, Alexa on any pod, iTunes, Google Play. We're on Twitter as well, at DW Review, and, of course, Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com.